everyone and welcome back to another video. We're starting the video off with Oakley because otherwise he will cry because I'm talking to no one. So he's going to be pottering about. I hope we all don't. I mind that you're being like a drum though. Can we calm it? Your tail is like a drum, Oakley. So today we have a video going through some exercises for our quads, which is our legs, the front of our legs, the top part where we're about those bits. In the title, I think I've called this must do exercises, but one thing I just want to say straight off the bat is there is no thing as a must do exercise. If you don't want to do an exercise in particular, you don't have to do it. There is no exercise that is a must do. If you like doing an exercise, then that's probably a must do exercise. Do things that you enjoy, but you do not have to do any particular exercise. If you try it and everyone's like, God, this is a really good exercise, everyone should be doing this, like hip thrusts, a really good example. Everyone's like, you should be doing hip thrusts for glute development. Bloody brilliant. If you hate hip thrusts, like me, it is not a must-do exercise. You don't have to do it. You don't have to. Just don't do the exercises you don't like. But what I mean by must-do is give them a try and see if you like them. And if you do like them, they're very, very good for quad development. If you don't like them, don't do them. They're a good one to try. So I have filmed their exercises in the gym already, and I thought we'd do some box commentary and talk about some top tips for them, what they are, essentially. I have got some basic ones in there and some ones that you might not have necessarily seen, so hopefully you'll find these useful. And like I say, these are just here to give them a try, ones that you might want to put in like if you're a bit bored of doing the basics, but just give them a try and see how you feel. So I'm going to start off with one of the basics straight away, and that is split squats. Now there's going to be a bit of discussion about what to call these. I call them split squats because that's what I would say the people that I kind of like respect in the industry in terms of their knowledge for mechanical movements and things like that. But it doesn't really matter what you call them. You can call them lunges, you can call them split squats. You can call them split squats if that's what you can call them, but I'm just going to call them split squats if I can get it out, and we'll move forward with that name. Okay, so they do look like lunges. They are essentially static lunges where you are staying in the position the entire time and just going up and down. We're not doing reverse lunges where we step backwards and into the lunge. We're not doing forward lunges where you step into the lunge. You are static and you're just going up and down. There are loads of different equipment that you could use to load this up. You can do it body weight, you can do it with a barbell, you can do it with dumbbells, you can do it with kettlebells, you can do it with a plate. You can load this however you feel comfortable. To make it quad focused, we are going to make sure that our knee is moving forward. There are different ways that you can load this up to make it more efficient for different parts of your body. If we are wanting to make this a quad dominant exercise, you want to imagine, say if this is your foot, you want to imagine the majority of the weight of your body going through your foot in 3 separate points. This is for every exercise, but you want it under your, like the ball of your foot, then the other side of your foot, and then the heel. If we are wanting to go for quad stuff, we want it we want it in the front of our foot, essentially. We're going to have some on the heel, but mainly in the front of our foot. If we want it in the glutes, it goes in the back of your foot. That goes for any leg exercise. But this is specifically important because you can change it more in this exercise than you can for other things. So you want to put the majority of your weight in the front of your foot. So hopefully we can see in the video that my knee is gliding forward. You don't want your knee stacked above your heel. That's kind of just more of a general or glute focused kind of split squat. We are letting our knee glide forward a little bit to make it quad. You want to imagine that the majority of your weight is going through your front foot. Your back foot's just there basically for balance. You want all of that weight in the front foot, and your front leg is doing all of the work. And to make it quad, let your knee go far let your knee go as far forward as you feel comfortable and coming back up. Like I say, you can load it with whatever you feel comfortable with. Just see how you feel with balance, because this one can be a little bit demanding on your balance. Okay, next up we're going to go on to the ones that you might not have seen as much, and these are both on the Smith machine. The first one is Smith machine squats. These are different to normal squats that you do with just the barbell because you have a very limited range of motion where you can go. The bar can't go back and forward for Smith machine squats. The bar can only go up and down. So you need to play about with your foot positioning, and you kind of basically making it like a hack squat. You want to try and find where your foot positioning is better to feel it in your quads. You don't want your bum to be going too far back and then squeezing up at the top to come up. Your glutes are going to come into this a little bit. Let's face it, your glutes come into a lot of stuff. But to make it quads, you need to play about with where you like your foot positioning, whether you want it closer to the bar or further away. The further away that you put it away from the bar and leaning back into the bar, it's going to feel more like a hack squat. But play about with it, see how you feel. You can get these for your quads. Don't go too much of a wide stance. You want it hip kind of width a little bit wider. Don't make it too wide because then it's going to bring more of your glutes into it. But you can see in the video the basic movement that I am doing, and yeah, it's just a little bit of a different one, and if you don't have a hack squat, it is a very good substitute. Sticking with the Smith machine, we are doing a DIY sissy squat. Now, this can be done on a sissy squat apparatus, but this is for if you don't have that, because that tends to be very, like, I don't know how to describe them. Gyms with a lot of equipment tend to only have a sissy squat apparatus. You are setting it up by yourself on the Smith machine, and the things that you do need for this is a barbell pad, like a hip thrust pad. If you do this without a barbell pad, it's gonna hurt. You can try it if you want, but it's gonna frickin' hurt. I also use some dumbbells to secure my feet. It just feels a lot more secure. If you don't have them there, you might fall backwards. I just used some dumbbells. Try not, in the video, the dumbbells I used were too heavy, so they couldn't fit next to each other to get my feet in the correct positioning. So just play about with what dumbbells you want. You can load this up, but it is hard. Don't underestimate these. They look simple, but they are difficult. You're essentially putting your entire body weight through your quads. You're gonna lean back into the barbell pad and just squat down essentially. And I know it sounds simple, but I promise you, they frickin' hurt. But you wanna put all your weight into that barbell pad, onto the bar, onto the pad if you have the apparatus, and let your bum glide down and then come back up. The main points for this though is to make sure that your back is staying in a line. Don't hunch over. So when you're leaning your bum back, don't be doing this. You want to keep it all in a straight line like you do in every other movement, and then coming back up to standing and then doing it again. Like I say, looks really simple, but it hurts. You can load this up with dumbbells, I would say, or kettlebells. You could do a barbell, but it might be a little bit like iffy, but you can load it up however you want. But I would probably recommend a dumbbell and a goblet position or a kettlebell. Next up, super simple, is a hack squat. There are multiple different types of hack squats. Your gym might have a different one to the one that I'm showing you here. There are pendulum ones, there are ones with different pads that come over you. There are many different ones, but the hack squat tends to be the holy grail in terms of like a quad exercise machine. Leg press and things like that are great as well, but they tend to bring in your glutes and things as well. But the hack squat is for your quads. Big mistakes that I see on hack squat is your heels coming off the floor. You never want your heels coming off the floor with any exercise really. Any kind of squatting kind of movement, your heels need to stay on the floor. Well, I say the floor, I mean the pad, the block, what should I call it? The pad. I'm just gonna call it the pad. I hope that's not confusing. Anyway, yeah, you want to try and again put the weight through the front of your foot. I also find it really useful to put the weight on the outside of my foot. I think that's because I'm flat-footed, but give it a try, see if it helps you. But I like having the weight on the outside of my foot and then driving through my quads. Don't forget to get your knees to go outwards. This is still a squat kind of movement. We still want our knees to go outward. You can do narrow if you want, but I would say try and keep your knees to go out and push through your quads. Again, the more your knee goes over your foot, the better. So try and bring your feet like lower on the pad, whatever you want to call it, platform. But it is very, very difficult. So I would always say start at a 90-degree angle for a hack squat, and then as you feel more confident, bring them down. So kind of instead of putting weight up, bring your feet lower down and then see how you feel. Don't worry too much about depth. 90-degree minimum, you can go lower if you want, but again, just feel how it feels for your body. It's going to depend on your anatomy, how deep you can go, and your mobility. So just do whatever feels right for you. But my top tips would be keep your heels on the platform, try and put the weight on the outside of your foot. Back can't have an overarch. Don't let that back have a massive gap between the actual, like, the thing that you're leaning on, the pad, and your back. You don't want like a big gap. You want it not flat against it, but you want it like tiny gap. Last one we are finishing with is the classic leg extension. Everyone's done a leg extension. I feel like it's one of those ones that you first go on when you first start at the gym, but this is putting a bit of a spin on it in case you're bored, and that is 2 up, 1 down leg extension. So basically the reason that this is a good variation is you can get your weight up for the most important bit of a leg extension. So the most important part of any exercise is the lowering phase. I'm gonna get complicated only just for a tiny little second. It's basically when the muscle is lengthening, okay? So if you think about a leg extension, it's the quads. Say this is our quads and this is our shins. The quads are going up, so the quads are getting shorter. As you're lowering back down, the quads are lengthening, right? And that's the part that's important. That's the part where we build muscle, rather than the concentric phase, which is where they're shortening. So the lowering phase is the important part. So for 2 up, 1 down, that means that the weight that you're doing on both legs, you can then take away one leg and get that weight on the bottom one. Now, it sounds like it's just like, well, why not just do one leg? But if you're doing one leg, it can actually be quite difficult to get the same amount of weight up as you can down. So doing it 2 up means it's quite easy to get back up, then you remove one leg, and then lowering it is quite difficult. So it's the same as any other kind of leg extension. Hold on the handles, please hold on the handles, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get the weight that you actually could if you holding the handles. Play about with where you're sitting. I, on the one that I am in this gym, don't like sitting back and using the pad. I find it too far back, but some gyms, I like the one at JD, it was quite upright and I found that really useful. But play about with how you're sitting. Try and keep the weight on the outside of your shins for your leg extensions. Again, that might just be a me thing, but I find if I put my weight on the outside of my shins, I can feel it in the outside of my quads and the main part of my quads a whole lot more. Try not to come all the way up to the way your knees are locked, so you don't want to be like boom. You want to kind of be like here, so like a relaxed state rather than like a locked out knee, and then lowering down. You need to control the lowering though. If you just go up and then remove the leg and then come back down, there's no point. It's gonna clang, it's gonna be difficult. Up, remove the leg, and then slowly back down. And that is the 5 exercises. So I could barely speak in that video, and I also had a lot of trouble with him. So I hope all of that made sense. I hope all of it was like legible and not too choppy and changey. If you did find this useful, please let me know. I would like to know which exercise you're gonna try. Like I say, just give them a try. If you don't like them, bin them off. If you do like them, maybe put them into your plan. I say this on quite a lot of my fitness videos, but if you could engage with any of the fitness videos, that would be great, because these are the videos I like doing. These are the videos that basically are my channel, and they're not always the most popular. So any engagement I get on them means the absolute world to me. So likes, comments, subscribes, things like that. But I hope you found this useful more than anything, and I shall hopefully see you in another video. Bye guys.